A number of Spurs players have taken to social media reacting to Tottenham's 2-2 draw against Bournemouth at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. They've also stated it is a big week for the club and they are looking forward to Thursday. Heung-min Son has come out and said we have to look at ourselves, and Postecoglou has urged the Spurs fans to get behind the team on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. Tim Sherwood has come out and said that Spurs have to fancy their chances to win the Europa League this season, and Football.London have just stated that Spurs are lining up a new manager. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well. This is another edition of Tottenham News, where I'll be going through all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And a big shout out to everybody in South Korea and Norway for listening to the Spurs Chat podcast this week. We are the #1 football podcast in Norway and South Korea this week. So thank you so much for all of your incredible support. Now let's start by talking about Tottenham Hotspur captain Heung-min Son, because he has spoken out about Tottenham's 2-2 draw on Sunday against Bournemouth at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. He said in the first half they had a couple of good chances, but Vic made a couple of unbelievable, outstanding saves to keep us in the game. We have to look at ourselves. Nobody can help us except us on the pitch. I think the guys who are playing need to take more responsibility. It has been many, many times where we have been sloppy, started sloppy, then go behind, and then we're chasing the game. It is not the idea. We have to be very strong and make steps forward. You can't always stay on the same stair. You have to make steps forward. It's March, so we have to improve our stats and our growth. We have to move forward. Gary Lineker has been talking about Tottenham Hotspur and England midfielder James Maddison. He said Maddison late coming off the bench again for Spurs, and when he does come on, he always looks the part and plays some good football. I'm a bit of a loss at what happened there. I wonder whether it is a bit of a fallout with boss Ange Postecoglou. Football.London have just reported that Spurs are lining up Postecoglou replacement and are eyeing a move for Inter Milan manager Simone Inzaghi. So the big game takes place. Tottenham Hotspur take on AZ Alkmaar in the last 16 second leg on Thursday evening at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 8 p.m. kickoff. Now, former Tottenham Hotspur captain and manager Tim Sherwood has been talking about Spurs in the Europa League. He said it will be carnage if Spurs go out of the Europa League on Thursday. This game is everything, and the whole season revolves around it. I think that they will go through. They have to deliver now. Tottenham have to fancy their chances of winning the Europa League this season. Sherwood then went on to say, you can't keep hiring and firing managers at Spurs. Spurs midfielder Rodrigo Bentancur has hit his Spurs century, starting in Sunday's 2-2 draw with Bournemouth at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The midfielder made his 100th appearance for the club. Arriving from Juventus in January 2022, Rodrigo Bentancur made an incredible impact in his first few months at the club, as alongside fellow newcomer Dejan Kulusevski, he helped us return to the Champions League. Now, at 100 appearances for the club, the midfielder is just one of 5 players in the current squad to have reached the milestone after Heung-min Son, Ben Davies, Christian Romero and Dejan Kulusevski. He has 9 goals in our colours to date. Spurs boss Ange Postecoglou spoke after Tottenham's 2-2 draw against Bournemouth at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday, and he spoke about the feeling of anxiety in the crowd and the importance of that not being the case on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar. He said, "I can't dictate to people how they interact, but AZ's crowd certainly helped them on Thursday night, and we need our crowd to get behind the boys on Thursday to make it an atmosphere where maybe we lose some of that nervousness and anxiety within our game. The reality is, as a team, we have to respond irrespective of the atmosphere, and one may follow the other. If we start the game strong, it will get the place nice and loud, which will help us." A number of Tottenham Hotspur players took to social media after Tottenham's 2-2 draw against Bournemouth on Sunday. Vicario said, "A point at home, full focus on Thursday. We need your full support." Striker Dominic Solanke has come out and said, "Felt good to be back out there again yesterday after a while. All focus now on Thursday." Christian Romero said, "After a difficult period full of things that happened in between, I am back with the group and happy to be able to help the team. There is certainly a lot to correct and work on, but we are together and eager to reverse the situation. See you on Thursday. We will come back stronger than ever all together. Thankful to the physios at Argentina for getting me out of a bad moment and putting me back on the field where I am so happy. Thank you all for your continued support." Midfielder Lucas Bergvall said, "Not the result we wanted, but we keep going, now focused on Thursday." And Jed Spence has come out and said, "Not the result we wanted, but big week ahead going into Thursday. Let's push and stick together." Jed Spence has been talking about a possible England call-up to Thomas Tuchel's first squad. He said, "If I do get called up, happy days. If I don't, I'll just keep working hard. I haven't heard from anyone, but I do want to keep playing well and helping my team." It was reported last week that Everton are interested in re-signing Richarlison from Tottenham Hotspur, and Give Me Sport have just reported that Spurs will demand £40 million if the Brazilian international is to leave Tottenham. Give Me Sport have also stated that Bayer Leverkusen are now interested in Spurs target and Southampton star Tyler Diblin, and the Boot Room have just reported that Spurs are interested in re-signing left-back Dennis Sirkin, who left Spurs in 2021. He currently plays for Sunderland. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about Tottenham's 2-2 draw at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Bournemouth on Sunday. Of course, at that halfway point, it was very, very disappointing, and really loud boos at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at half-time, 1-0 down. And let's be honest, we could have been 1-0 down after just 17 seconds. And I feel like that is a big problem in the way that Spurs started the game. In particular, Christian Romero giving the ball away, really careless, just after 17 seconds. You can't do that in a Premier League game at any time, especially after 17 seconds, especially after, you've been out injured for 3 months. And there's a lot of frustrated fans, about Romero being called up to the Argentina squad. And then, of course, Romero then thanked the Argentina medical staff and not the Spurs medical staff. That didn't go down too well with a lot of the Spurs fans. But in terms of the result against Bournemouth, when you look how Bournemouth have played this season, and when you look at some of their results and you look at their league position as well, they're gunning for a European spot, and their manager Iriola has done an absolutely wonderful job, and a lot of their players are being spoken about going to top Premier League clubs. No disrespect to Bournemouth, but a lot of their players are being spoken about as is their manager as well, and I've no doubt that he will move on to bigger and better things. And again, no disrespect to Bournemouth. I feel overall the result was really good for Spurs, especially being 2-0 down. We did show good character to come back. And let's face it, we got a lucky goal through Sarr. That was obviously a cross. And, Kepa literally gifting us a penalty. And Son having the balls to score a penalty like that. So big up to Heung-min Son. But I feel like we got lucky on Sunday, but also showed good character to come back into the game. But I think the most important thing is it's really good preparation for Thursday's game. And if we're all really honest and frank about it, this is where the importance comes in on Thursday, because we've got to go through to the next round. We've got to go through to the quarterfinals to play either Frankfurt or Ajax. Of course, Spurs are 1-0 down, having lost the away leg, the first leg last week. That was very, very disappointing. We cannot have that again. But I do feel a lot of the frustration amongst the Spurs fan base at the moment is how we started that game against Bournemouth, because everyone expected some kind of reaction to Thursday's very, very dismal and poor display against AZ Alkmaar away. But result-wise, I think it was a good result. Spurs are 13th in the Premier League table. It looks like we are a million miles away from a European place via the league. So we literally have to put all of our eggs in one basket, and that is the Europa League. Spurs have to go all out to win the Europa League. Now, Tim Sherwood has come out and said it will be carnage if Spurs go out of the Europa League this Thursday. And he's also said that Spurs have to fancy their chances of winning this competition. He's also said, you can't keep hiring and firing managers at Tottenham. Now, I have seen so much negativity and criticism aimed at Ange Postecoglou. I also know a lot of people who were big Ange Postecoglou fans, and now it seems that they are even, pointing a lot of criticism, towards Ange Postecoglou's door. Football.London, interestingly, have said that Spurs are lining up Postecoglou replacement and are eyeing a move for Inter Milan manager Simone Inzaghi. That is going to be an interesting one. Will Ange Postecoglou keep his job if Spurs go out of the Europa League on Thursday? I tell you what, none of these decisions would surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if Spurs did go out and Postecoglou kept his job until the end of the season, and then the situation would then be reviewed. It wouldn't at all surprise me if Spurs went out of the Europa League on Friday and he was sacked either on Thursday evening or Friday morning. None of these scenarios would surprise me at all, especially when you think of previous years. Jose Mourinho losing his job 6 days before a cup final. Pochettino didn't spend a penny in 518 days, took us to a Champions League final. A couple of months later, was sacked. Of course, Antonio Conte, we all know what happened there. He had a rant and then he was sacked shortly after. You never ever know. But all I'm saying is that we need to get behind the team as Spurs fans. We want success as Spurs fans. So we need to get behind the team, get behind Ange Postecoglou, get behind these players, get behind the squad, and sing our hearts out on Thursday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against AZ Alkmaar to try and get through to the quarterfinals, because it is a very, very important game. It is our biggest game of the season. If Spurs go out of the Europa League, we're currently 13th, as I mentioned. And, we've got some very, very tough games coming up. I feel like, just a very, very small piece of hope that I have about Spurs finishing in a European spot via the league. It's very unlikely, but it is possible. And I feel like it's only possible if we go on a fantastic winning run, winning against all of the teams who are actually above us, i.e. Fulham away on Sunday, Chelsea away after the international break. Two very, very tough games in West London. But the Europa League, we've got to put all of our eggs in this basket. We've got to try and win the competition. And, of course, we would be then playing Champions League football if we won the competition. No game in Europe is ever easy, whether it's home or away. And the away games are very, very difficult. So if Spurs do get through against AZ on Thursday, we would either face Ajax or Frankfurt. Frankfurt are 2-1 up from the first leg, and Frankfurt are at home this coming Thursday. Interestingly, before we actually play our game, we will actually know our potential opponents, Frankfurt or Ajax, before we even kick a ball for our second leg, because their kickoff time is 5:45 UK time. Now, Ange Postecoglou has urged the fans to get behind the team on Thursday. I know that's upset a lot of people by him talking about atmosphere and saying that the atmosphere wasn't that great on Sunday. And like he said, I feel like the atmosphere will be better if the team put in a really decent performance, particularly in the opening 5, 10, 15 minutes, and we do get an early goal. That place could be rocking, and which will go hand in hand. The crowd will be up for it. The players will be happy, and hopefully it is a really good night under the lights, and Spurs do go through to the quarterfinals. Many congratulations to Bentancur. He has now reached 100 appearances for Spurs. Son has come out and said, we have to look at ourselves. I feel like there are some players who do need to give a lot more. Of course, we have had a lot of injury problems this season. I think the 2024-2025 season will certainly go down as a injury hit season. Certainly this year. It has been a very, very difficult one, but we could be successful still. As I keep saying, all eyes now are on the Europa League, and a number of Spurs players have taken to Instagram and X, etc., and said exactly that. All eyes on Thursday now. This is a huge game, so the players know what it means to the football club. The fans know what this game means. All eyes on Thursday, as a lot of the players have said. Jed Spence on a possible England call-up. I've said this on the podcast many, many times. Jed Spence should be in Thomas Tuchel's first England squad. It would be fully deserved. Not sure about James Maddison, and Lineker on James Maddison saying that he believes that there may have been a bit of a fallout with Ange Postecoglou. All I would say, very politely, to Gary Lineker is... you probably don't watch every single minute of every Spurs game, and I do feel like Maddison has been very inconsistent in a Spurs shirt, and that is probably why he hasn't got the minutes. I know Ange Postecoglou is now trying to rotate the team with a lot of the injured players coming back, etc. But I feel like James Maddison, we know what he is capable of. We just want to see that on a consistent basis, and I'm sure he wants to be consistent to try and get back into that England squad. So, whenever he gets a chance, he's got to be taking it. And like Lineker said, when he comes on, he always looks the part and plays some good football. We need to see that on a consistent basis. We need to see that all of the time. It was reported last week that Everton are interested in re-signing Richarlison. Spurs apparently want around £40 million for him to go back to Goodison Park. Well, it won't be Goodison Park. If he does leave at the end of the season, it'll be their new stadium, Bramley Moor Dock. But as I've said many times on this channel, I feel like the time is right for Richarlison to leave, and Spurs need to reinvest the money into other players. Sometimes it just doesn't work with certain players. I love Richarlison as a person, but I just feel like he needs to do a whole lot more, and of course needs to stay fit. And sometimes you just got to say it hasn't worked out with certain players. It's just the way it happens. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do that follow button and leave a review if you can. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe and well. Come on, you Spurs.